Everyone knows the name Pele, but almost nobody knows where it actually came from. His real name was Edson Arantes do Nascimento, named after Thomas Edison. His town had just gotten electricity. His father wanted to honor the man who invented it. As a child, other kids started calling him Pelé. Nobody truly agrees on why. Here's the twist. Young Edson actually hated the nickname at first. He even got into fights at school trying to make people stop using it. Of course, the name never went away. Instead, it became known across the entire planet. Most fans know he grew up poor. Fewer know exactly what he played with instead of a ball. Sometimes it was a sock filled with newspaper. Sometimes it was simply a grapefruit. He couldn't afford shoes either, so he learned the entire game barefoot. That barefoot instinct never fully left him. Even as a professional, his balance stayed unmatched. In 1950, Brazil lost the World Cup final on home soil. The country was heartbroken. 9-year-old Edson watched his father cry that day, a memory he never forgot. Right then, he made his father a quiet promise. One day, he'd win the World Cup for Brazil. 8 years later, at just 17, he kept that promise, scoring twice in the final. Here's a story that sounds too incredible to be true, but it really happened. In 1969, during a civil conflict in Nigeria, his club arranged an exhibition match there. Reports say both sides agreed to a short ceasefire, just so people could watch him play. For a couple of days, guns went quiet, and a football match brought people together. By the 1960s, Europe's richest clubs all wanted to sign him. He never went. Here's why. The Brazilian government officially declared him a national treasure. That special status legally prevented him from being transferred out of the country. So while other stars moved across Europe, he stayed loyal to Santos his entire prime. On November 19, 1969, something happened that had never happened before in football. He scored his 1000th official career goal, live in front of a packed stadium. The entire stadium rushed the pitch. Play had to stop for several minutes. That day is still remembered in Brazil simply as Pele Day. Few people realize he wasn't just a player. He became a global diplomat too. He later served as Brazil's extraordinary minister for sport, shaping policy off the pitch. He also worked with the United Nations, promoting peace and education through sport. Wherever he traveled as an ambassador, football opened doors that politics alone could not. For decades, fans only saw the legend. Few saw the ordinary man underneath. Even after global fame, he faced real financial difficulties later in his life. It was a quiet reminder that even icons aren't immune to life's hardships. Still, he kept showing up for interviews, for charities, for the game he loved. In 1993, he founded a foundation to support children through sport and education. By the time he retired in 1977, he had scored over 1,000 career goals. He remains the only player in history to win 3 World Cup titles. In the United States, his arrival at the New York Cosmos changed football's popularity there. Stadium crowds nearly doubled almost overnight, just from fans wanting to see him play. He also became one of the first black global sports icons of the 20th century. His success opened doors and inspired generations of players who came after him. On December 29, 2022, the world lost its first true football superstar. He passed away at age 82 after facing serious health challenges in his final years. Tributes came from presidents, players, and fans who never even saw him play live. His statue still stands outside the Maracanã Stadium, greeting visitors from around the world, but statues and stadiums aren't really where his story lives on. It lives on in barefoot kids, still playing with whatever ball they can find. So here's what most people miss about Pele's story. It was never really about the trophies, the records, or even the goals themselves. It was about a kid who kept a promise made beside his crying father. It was about a game that once made soldiers and civilians sit side by side. It was about a man who stayed human, even while the whole world watched him. That's the part of his story rarely told in headlines or highlight reels. Not just the king of football, but the boy who never stopped believing in a game. Every rag ball kicked on a dusty street carries a little piece of his story. Every child who dreams big, despite having very little, walks a path he once walked. That is the real untold story. Not just what he won, but who he stayed. From a hut in Tres Corações to the hearts of the entire world. This has been the untold story of Pelé. Thank you for watching.